Look at your bank balance. Most of that money was never printed. It doesn't exist as coins or paper or gold in a vault. It's just numbers on a screen, and we all agree to believe in them. Money is the most powerful story humans have ever told, and for almost 300,000 years, that story did not exist. So how did we survive without it? And how did the very idea of money once destroy the empire that invented it? We're taught that it all began with barter, that before money, people simply swapped goods, a chicken for a pot, grain for cloth. But here's the strange part. When anthropologists went looking for these barter societies, they barely found any. The truth is stranger. The first economies didn't run on trade. They ran on memory. In a small community, you didn't pay your neighbor. You remembered. I help you build your home. You owe me. Later, you share your harvest. The debt is settled. Everyone kept a running ledger, not on paper but in their heads. Trust was the currency. But this only works when everyone knows everyone. The moment strangers had to trade, that fragile system broke. Imagine you raise chickens, and you need a new axe. But the axe maker doesn't want chickens. He wants wheat. So you have to find someone with wheat who happens to want chickens, just to make one simple trade. Economists call this the double coincidence of wants. It made every exchange slow, frustrating, and fragile. Humanity needed something better, something everyone would accept. The answer appeared 5,000 years ago, in the world's first cities, in Mesopotamia. Here, between two rivers, humans built temples, granaries, and surpluses of food. And to keep track of it all, scribes pressed marks into wet clay. Those clay tablets recorded who owed what. The world's first money wasn't a coin at all. It was a number, a record of debt. They even had a unit for it, the shekel. Originally, just a measure of barley. With it you could price anything, a field, an ox, a day's labor. For the first time, value had a language, but this new power had a dark side, one that would haunt civilization for thousands of years. If money could be owed, it could also be unpaid. Farmers borrowed grain to survive a bad season. When they couldn't repay, they lost their land, then their freedom. They became debt slaves. Entire families were swallowed by numbers on a clay tablet. Debt threatened to tear society apart. And so the kings did something we'd find unthinkable today. They wiped the slate clean. Rulers declared a debt jubilee, canceling debts across the entire kingdom. Slaves were freed. Land was returned. It was a reset button for the whole economy, used to stop society from collapsing under its own loans. 4,000 years ago, they already understood a truth we still struggle with. Debt that can never be repaid will eventually break everything. Meanwhile, across the world, other cultures were solving the same problem in a completely different way. On beaches from China to Africa, people discovered the perfect object, a small, shiny seashell. The cowrie. It couldn't be faked. It was easy to carry and to count, and it became money on more of the planet, for longer than almost anything else in history. Others chose cattle, beads, or salt, so valuable it was traded block for block, and some say it's where the word salary was born. Across every continent, humans were reaching for the same idea, a thing rare enough to hold value and common enough to trade. And then, one kingdom changed money forever. Around 2,600 years ago, in the kingdom of Lydia, someone took a lump of precious metal and stamped it with the mark of a lion, the seal of the king. That stamp was a promise. This much weight, this much worth, guaranteed. The coin was born. Now a stranger in a distant city would accept your payment because they trusted the symbol. Their king, Croesus, refined it further, minting pure gold and silver coins of trusted purity. He became so wealthy that we still say it today, as rich as Croesus. Coins lit a fire under trade. Marketplaces exploded. Strangers could now do business in seconds. But coins had a weakness: they were heavy. And on the other side of the world, China was about to invent something lighter and far more dangerous: Carrying thousands of metal coins was exhausting and dangerous, so Chinese merchants began leaving their coins with trusted shops and carrying a paper receipt instead. That slip of paper could be redeemed for the real money later. Then the government had a revelation. Why not skip the coins entirely? And so, over 1,000 years ago, China printed the world's first paper money. By the time of Kublai Khan, the largest empire on earth ran on paper. When the explorer Marco Polo saw it, he could hardly believe it. The Khan was turning the bark of mulberry trees into money and commanding millions to accept it as gold. It seemed like magic, but it hid a terrible temptation. If you can simply print money, what stops you from printing more? The rulers couldn't resist. They printed paper far beyond the gold and silver they actually held. Prices soared. The paper became worthless, and this runaway inflation helped bring the mighty Yuan dynasty crashing down. It was history's first brutal lesson. Money is only ever as real as the trust behind it. Centuries later in Europe, the modern bank was quietly born. People stored their gold with goldsmiths and received paper notes in return. But the goldsmiths noticed something. Almost no one ever came to collect all their gold at once, so they began lending out more notes than they had gold to back. With that single trick, banks learned how to create money out of thin air, and the entire modern economy was built on it. For a long time, paper money was still a promise. Every note could, in theory, be exchanged for real gold. Your money was backed by something you could hold. Then came a single day that quietly changed your life forever. On August 15, 1971, the United States cut the dollar's final link to gold. From that moment, money was backed by nothing you could touch. No gold, no silver, only trust in the government and in each other. We call it fiat money. And today, every single currency on earth works this way. The story had become so powerful. It no longer needed anything real behind it at all. And now the final step. More than 90% of the world's money has no physical form at all. It's pure data flickering between screens faster than thought. A coin is just metal. A bill is just paper. Your balance is just numbers. None of it has value on its own. It works only because we all agree to believe the same story together. From a single mark pressed into clay to the screen in your pocket, this is before us. Subscribe, and next time we travel to the world before medicine, when a single scratch could end your life.